Greetings everybody, my name is RIPTON LINDSAY and I'm just giving a little overview of dances of resistance, and this is going to be based from a Jamaican perspective, meaning because we've got such a rich cultural heritage and story, you know, going back from centuries. We've built a catalogue of music, dance and traditional, which, you know, spawned off into modern dances also and modern songs. But I want to go back centuries to some traditional stuff, and just as a reminder, you know, there were a lot of dances some people might not know about coming from Jamaica but also brought from Africa, you know, regarding the whole transatlantic slave trade, and also freed slaves, as they say, brought this rich cultural heritage to Jamaica. So we had dances like Zella, we had Tambo, we had Quadrille, and some of these dances also are a mixture of African and European contents. So for example, Quadrille is one of them. We got Mayal, we have the Maypole also, which has a lot of European influence, and we had the Jankono, we had Gombe, we had Gere, which Gere was mainly in the St. Mary region. People call it Gere Benta also, and there's a reason. And you had Eto, you had Dinkimini, you had Buru, and the last two I'm gonna elaborate on a little bit were the strongest form, which is Kumina and Brukins. Now I'm gonna associate the two together for this particular explanation and demonstration. Kumina was brought from Congo, you know, West Africa, and brought to Jamaica. It's stated it began around the 1830s, 1839, somewhere around that time region. But I think, you know, there's a possibility of Kumina even being there before, because of the maroon, you know, it was associated with Abeng and the drumming, and I know this goes back to even the late 1600, you know, early 1700. So there could be, you know, proof that the Kumina existed before the 1800s in Jamaica. Most of these traditional dances were embodied and strengthened on the eastern side of Jamaica, that means between St. Mary, Portland and St. Thomas. Kumina for one was the strongest in St. Thomas and a certain aspect of Portland. And as I say, Gere Benta was strong in St. Mary region. Brukins was also a strong point, and the music of the Brukins and Kumina have similarity. Now, a lot of people associate the Kumina with night when a person passes away, and there's also affiliation with, you know, birth and celebration like weddings. But a lot of people, when they say Kumina, automatically a lot of people associate it with the night when people celebrating, you know, the pass away of someone. It's a joy, and these two types of music and dances aren't to be taken lightly. They are very powerful. Now, Brukins in its sense has a mixture of European influence, slightly in the music and also in the dressing of the performances, because what it is, for example, like Maypole and Brukins, part of it was also mocking the slave masters. Little did they know, but that was part of the whole ethics of the dance. So they imitated the slave masters. So when they had the parties, they would watch the slave masters and imitate the movements and dress as if they were the slave masters at the time. And Kumina is the purest and the most strongest and most traditional out of all, because that is pure African involvement. There was nothing European about the Kumina elements, neither the music, neither the dances. Now, why I brought up Kumina, not just because of the music, but it was a sort of resistance back in the days, because, for example, going back to the Maroons, when they used to go out for battle, at times they would sound the Abeng, and the Abeng has different calls, and sometimes they would have a dance, like a traditional warrior dance, even before, and sending signals through the mountains and communicate with other Maroon communities. So it's a form of resistance in a sense. But the Brukins, the Brukins dance is also a celebration from the emancipation of, slavery. And like I said, this came around the mid-30s, 1839, around that time, when it was the emancipation of slavery. And as such, what I want to do as a demonstration is combine the Brukins dance element along with the Kumina music. Because to me, both of them are a form of resistance, music and dance of resistance. And that spawned over into the movements of ska, like some of the movements you see where they're going on there. All the arm movements, from generations, some things are passed on but transformed into different styles and different sounds. But if you go to the root of the music, you find that the movements are coming from centuries. So even like the reggae, the dancehall, early days, it's also a form of resistance because, people used to have their own little enjoyment and freedom from the week's work and the weekend. And as such, the dancehall itself was highly harassed by, the police force, you could say, and people would still put up some sort of resistance. They created the music, regarding oppression, injustice, and as such, the music also send energy to the people, which transcended dance movements. So people would have certain dance and it's steps of resistance, strength. Just like they would say creative movements, dance, all of that, it's grounded movement, expressive, So I want to give a quick demonstration using a traditional ceremonial Kumina music, and this is an authentic Kumina session. This is not our studio recording music, so keep that in mind. And I'm going to mix it with the Brukins dance and a little bit of the Kumina. Now, I grew up on this tradition, and I'm telling you from what I have learned as a child coming up. So this is nothing from Google or Wikipedia, that kind of thing. This is just my sheer tradition I am sharing. So Kumina also, originally the drummers would sit in a space and there would be a circle around the drummers. And if people dance in that circle, it would go anti-clockwise around the drummers. So keep that in mind. And Kumina also embodies certain elements of Mayal, because there are times when people get into a Mayal state, and people who understand that and are familiar with these terminologies and these happenings will completely understand what I am saying. So Brukins in itself was just a free-form dance. There was no circular motion, or it was just however you wanted to move. But it consists of movements mainly from the hips down to the foot and certain hand gestures, and that's the Brukin movements. And to me, the Brukin has a lot of movements of resistance, fighting, warrior spirit. So I will play a traditional Kumina music, and then I'll incorporate the Brukin style of dance and also a little bit of the Kumina tradition to it for a bit of demonstration. So hope you all enjoy, and hope I've given you a bit of information. And keep in mind also, the reggae music, early days, the dancehall, also is a form of resistance music spawning from these traditional sounds. So enjoy. Yes, so that was just a mixture at Brukins and Kumina dance, which I still enjoy, you know. Takes me back many years, you know, growing up, and the culture, festival, and people, and just get together. And also remember, if you look closely to a lot of the reggae moves, even when they say new reggae style, just trace it, and it goes right back. Even that simple little that Hussein does, yep. A lot of movements, yep. Call down the rain, yeah. Showers, ceremonial dance. It has a root. So, hope I've given you a little bit of information, and also you can create your dance of resistance from within, yeah? And if you feel that there's a freedom you obtain whenever you dance, just to get your mind away from things, that's your dance of resistance too, yep? And the dancing that will always continue even when the dancer is gone. So the dance of resistance lives on. Keep that in mind. Enjoy.